There's so many faces that don't see me. I've been so many places with so many faces I've gone unseen. And I'm all alone, and I'm on my own. I've gotten lost in a bottle, going for throttle till I couldn't see. But drink don't make it better, my lips are just wetter, but still I'm unseen. And I'm all alone, and I'm on my own. And I just wanna scream, here I am, see me. Listen the feel of a body next to my body as I sleep. Listen conversation with the lover loving me. And I'm all alone, and I'm on my own. And I just wanna scream, here I am, see me. And I just wanna scream, here I am, see me. There's so many faces that don't see me. I've been so many places with so many faces I've gone unseen. And I'm all alone, and I'm on my own. It's no sound, everyone get down. It's rock and roll, it owns your soul. It makes you move to the beat and groove. Makes you shake your butt, can't get enough. When the rock and roll explode, we're casualties, come dance with me. It's made of fire and electric wire, touch to your spine. The beat unwinds, the bass it booms throughout the room. Everyone gets down to the oldest sound. When the rock and roll explode, we're casualties, come dance with me. And it goes doom dicka doom dicka doom dicka dicka doom doom dicka doom dicka doom dicka dicka doom doom dicka doom dicka doom dicka dicka doom 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 dooba doom doom dicka doom dicka doom dicka dicka doom doom dicka doom dicka doom dicka dicka doom doom dicka doom dicka doom dicka dicka doom 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 dooba doom. Explode from coast to coast, the sound explodes. It's everywhere, it's in your head, it's on your hands, it's in your pants, it's on your tongue, it's in your lungs. When the rock and roll explode, we're casualties, come dance with me. And it goes doom dicka doom doom dicka doom dicka doom dicka dicka doom doom dicka doom dicka doom dicka dicka doom 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 dibba doom doom dicka doom dicka doom dicka dicka doom doom dicka doom dicka doom dicka dicka doom doom dicka doom dicka doom dicka dicka doom 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 dibba doom explode and lights us up. We glow, a billion glowing souls the music holds, and we turn on. We glow, a million billion stars shine on, shine gold. We all feel the beat, our feet are dancing on. It's noisy sound, everyone get down. It's rock and roll, it owns your soul. It makes you move to the beat and groove. Makes you shake your butt, can't get enough. When the rock and roll explode, where casualties come dance with me. And it goes doom dicka doom dicka doom dicka dicka doom doom dicka doom dicka doom dicka dicka doom doom dicka doom dicka doom dicka dicka doom 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 dibba doom doom dicka doom dicka doom dicka dicka doom.
That is do numbers even go that high? I don't think so. I think we've just invented a brand new threshold. Hey, Cupid doll, how you doing? All right, let me see. So the lighting is a little weird. I haven't done this in a while, so maybe the lighting is exactly normal. It feels a little bit weird to me. It feels a little bit like I'm a little bit washed, a little bit ruddy. I don't know why I feel a little ruddy. Okay, there we go. That looks a little bit more like what I see in the mirror. So today I'm going to be joined by Eric Summer, Eric Lee rather. He now goes by his actual given name, Eric Lee. While for his many years in Get Set Go, he was Eric Summer, and I forgot that his actual last name was Eric Lee. And so hell yeah, man. Let me But I'm just gonna play some songs just to kind of like get my hand into the songwriting or song playing thing again. I've been working on the season finale of Hesitation Cuts, and I have to say I think it's the best episode yet. Like I really like it. So we'll see. I'll see what your guys' reaction is. Places no one else has ever been to. There's no end to the trouble I get into when I'm with you. I'm 3 steps ahead of all my sorrow, but I promise by tomorrow I'll repay you all the things that I have borrowed. I speeding past sunrise, racing through midnight. I try to slow it down, I come around. Never gonna lose, I'm a race car driver, the sole survivor, pedals to the metal as I make my getaway. I'm never gonna lose, I'm a race car driver, the sole survivor, pedals to the metal as I make my getaway. Brace for an impact that I know someday must come. I've been on the run, moving faster than a freight train. No one can catch me and they daren't even try, 'cause there's just no faster guy. I'm alone on the highway, speeding past sunrise, racing through midnight. I try to slow it down, I come around. I'm never gonna lose, I'm a race car driver, the sole survivor, pedals to the metal as I make my getaway. I'm never gonna lose, I'm a race car driver, the sole survivor, pedals to the metal as I make my getaway. Speed and get away, speed and get away, speed and get away, speed and get away. Someday I promise to surrender, someplace, somewhere out there is better. speeding getaway, speeding getaway, speeding getaway. Someday I promise to surrender. Someplace, somewhere out there is better. I'm never gonna lose, I'm a race car driver, the sole survivor. Pedals to the metal as I make my getaway. The pedals to the metal as I make my getaway. Sheesh, man. Yeah, so I haven't picked up the guitar. I guess I recorded the last song for the season finale of Hesitation Cuts on Wednesday, and that was the last time I picked up the guitar. I haven't been slacking off, not at all, but I haven't really been. Music has been a bit of a double-edged sword for me emotionally this past month. And my intention is now that the podcast is done, I'm going to be going back and I'm going to be doing some revisions to the. I'm going to be going back and I'm going to be listening to the entire series. Hey Shamrock, how you doing, man? Good to see you, brother. Long time. I'm going to be going through and I'm going to be listening to the entirety of the series. And then I will be making some adjusting and some tweaking, and I might go back in and re-record some spoken word, and I might do some adjusting to the songs and the mixes, but I'm just going to make sure everything is 100% awesome. And then I am going to focus on streaming and promoting the fuck out of the podcast. Because I think, which is really great. Hold on. What is going on with the camera? God fucking damn it, man. This camera is specifically set up so it's to never ever change its focus. It's never supposed to adjust its focus at all. It's supposed to just be as pulled out as there we go. See, god damn you. Anyway, so yeah, man. And I'm just gonna fucking promote the shit out of it because I'm so proud of it. 50 fucking songs. 50. So this is I've put out more fully produced songs this year. Well, so 2015, I put out a 13 song record, which is Here Be Dragons, a 21 song album, which was Furthermore, 15, 21. So that's 36, 36, or no, 22 actually, 26, 27, 27, 20, so 20, 22 and 13 is 35. And then I also put out a 10 song album, 35, 45. And then I put out an EP, Anal Worm the EP. And so in 2015 I put out more tracks than I've ever done. Thank you, Shamrock. Yeah, man. That's it's crazy. Like that's been pretty much the standard reaction, right? Like, most people that listen to it are like, yeah, it's a fucking really, really cool and interesting way to to create a listening experience for my ears. I love it. Like, it's great, and I do think that it's going to take a little while to find its audience because it is a sort of a different kind of, and in fact, I talk about all this. In the last episode. So the last episode is actually called Hesitation Cuts. And I actually talk about why I did the podcast and what I was expecting to get out of it and when I first started what I thought it was going to be, and as I started working on it, what it eventually became, and yeah, man, and I'm just fucking stoked. I think it's gonna be great. So let me just keep playing. I'm just gonna play a few songs. We're waiting on Eric. Eric will be showing up soon, and then he and I will start playing. Right. Yeah, maybe it's a little too early to play that one. All right, let me just tune up real quick. But that's awesome. Thank you for that, Shamrock. That's great to hear, man. It has been a very, very bizarre experience because like I've gone from putting out even my Spotify numbers have basically halved in the past year. So I had like 45,000 people, and now I've got like 24,000 people. So and all of my streaming services numbers have declined, although none of them nearly as dramatically as Spotify has declined. However, those numbers, like I still have I still have 50, 60,000 people to listen to me each month. So I was anticipating when I launched the podcast, I was anticipating that I was going to get a small fraction of that, like maybe 3,000 or 4,000 people listening right out the gate. Now, of course, I haven't made a point of actively like what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting out a little single where literally it's music, it's an instrumental music that I recorded back in 2015 that I've never released. And over the instrumental music, I'm going to be talking and being like, hey guys, I have a brand new podcast and it's fucking amazing and you should check it out, and I will talk about it. And then so it's going to be a single. It's going to be a, hey Will, how you doing, man? And that's a great handle. Literally just Will. It's going to be a combination of, so it's gonna be a 2-song single. It's gonna be the exact same music, but the main single is gonna be me talking and saying, "Hey guys, hey all of the people that listen to my music. I actually have a brand new podcast with 50 brand new recordings, 10 episodes, 5 songs per episode, and it's fucking amazing. And if ever you wanted to know what it's like to be a very, very minor rock and roll personality on the planet Earth, that is, like with some significant film and licensing success, but that's it, then this is your bag, this is your gig. So, and we'll see, hold on, let me, and that's, I think that's important, Will, that is important to, I strive for intense honesty with all things. I often fail, but I always take ownership. If someone goes, "Is that really true, Mike?" I'll be like, no. That was a little bit of a hyperbolic statement, or a little bit of a truncation for the story's sake. Let me just get this tuned up. And then, all right. So today's stream, I'm not going to be doing a lot of. I'm not gonna be doing a lot of music because I'm gonna be joined by my former bandmate Eric Lee, formerly known as Eric Summer of Get Set Go, and he just put out a brand new album. It's fucking amazing, and I just forgot to promote it. I forgot to tell people about it, And Eric does not, like, Eric puts stuff out and goes, yeah, there it is, he does no promotional work at all. So I'm like, fuck, dude, like no one knows about this amazing record. So I'm gonna make people aware of it today, right now. All right, let me see. So let's do. Yes, no, it's hard. Let me get this good thing right here. Let me just bring this guy up a little bit. There we go. Sorry, it sounds a little weird, but here we go. Yes, no, it's hard. It's getting harder all the time. You put your back against the wall, embrace yourself and push with all your might. But nothing's moving, nothing's going anywhere. And you close your eyes. Nothing's moving, nothing's going anywhere. Oh, there we go. And you shove till you're exhausted, throw your hands up and you cry out in despair. But don't you ever give up. No, don't you let it get its claws into you. Those other motherfuckers, oh, what do they do? So let's crack open a bottle and let us tune up our guitars. And let us sing to the dying of the stars. Oh, let us sing but those songs that never get heard. Let's set it on fire and watch it burn. Oh, sing with me, make the heavens tremble with the song. 'Cause sooner than later we'll be gone. thieves and liars everywhere you turn. And the more time that you spend with them, the more like them you'll become, you'll learn. And I hate to say it, but I don't like we've arrived, where the rich keep getting richer and the poor, well, the poor, they just keep dying. But I'm just a broken songster, writing songs that no one will buy. I have no power to make things right. But here's another song, love, a song I sing with all of my heart. I know it's tough and it's falling apart. Oh, let us sing for those songs that never get heard. Let's set it on fire and watch it burn. Oh, sing with me, make the heavens tremble with the song. 'Cause sooner than later we'll be gone. Let us sing away the pain. Let us sing a song that makes it all okay. And should I sing a bit too long, oh, I hope you'll forgive me this song. There we go. Yes, you know it's hard, it's getting harder all the time. You put your back against the wall and brace yourself and push with all your might. But nothing's moving, nothing's going anywhere. And you shove till you're exhausted, throw your hands up and you cry out in despair. But don't you ever give up. No, don't you let it get its claws into you. 'Cause other motherfuckers, oh, what do they do? So let's crack open a bottle and let us tune up our guitars. And let us sing to the dying of the stars. Oh, let us sing but those songs that never get heard. Set it on fire and watch it burn. Oh, sing with me, like the heavens tremble with the song. 'Cause sooner than later we'll be gone. Paper Cat, what are you doing up at this hour, man? Good to see you, brother. Isn't it like death o'clock in the morning where you're at? Let me see. So, what was I gonna hear? So, fuck Christmas. Wow, I haven't thought about this song in a long. I haven't thought of this song. Hold on, let me tune up real quick. But yeah, I let me see if I can figure this song out because I haven't played it in a long time. And what are you doing up at 4 o'clock in the morning, Paper Cat? Okay, this is not good. Like 1 second. Get that better position. So that's something. Oh yeah, so I think I can pull this one off. I might totally train wreck this song. I haven't played it in a long time. Let me. You know, in fact, the reason why I played the old version of the last song was because I didn't have Paperbot, designed by Papercat, who's in the audience right now at 4 o'clock in the morning in Spain, because he is a madman and a lunatic. I didn't have that up. because I forgot to turn on Paperbot. So yeah, but I just got turned on. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. Let's do so. Fuck Christmas. Yeah, this is a good one. I haven't played this in a long time. Watching from bed. I went nuts working till. Oh yes, of course.
It's motherfucking Christmas time, and I don't have a fucking dime. It doesn't matter anyhow, 'cause I've been feeling plenty down. I'm blue, so what can I do? It's fucking Christmas time again. Will the season never end? Every time I turn around, Christmas comes bearing down. My God, make it stop. I'm so tired of Christmas. Fuck Christmas. Fuck Christmas. Fuck Christmas. Fuck Christmas time. I'm sick of all the Christmas cheer that permeates this time of year. And I'm sick of Christmas songs. I don't want to sing along. I'm done. I'm through. I'm so tired of Christmas. Fuck Christmas. Fuck Christmas. Fuck Christmas. Fuck Christmas time.
Wham! What is Wham Holla? What is Wham Holla? Is that a Wham? Is that a Christmas? Is that a Christmas celebration? And yeah, that wasn't too bad. I'm amazed because I haven't played that song since last Christmas. So yeah, so that's not too terrible. Considering it's a pretty straightforward finger or like arpeggiating pattern, but there's just lots of I choose different notes in the chord to hit depending on where in the song it is, and so but I didn't do too terrible. Sweetheart, can you turn on the fan downstairs for me, please? Oh shit! God damn it! Hold on, give me 1 second, everybody. Zoom.us. I'm zooming Eric in, and I had everything set up, and I just clicked out of my thing right here. So there's that, and then I need to bring up Bandcamp, and Eric Lee. There we go. Okay, great. Bandcamp, Eric Lee, boom, boom, and all right, great. Now we're all set. Okay, so yeah, so I will let me Eric might have reached out and said, oh, thank you, sweetheart. That feels so much better. All right, so I can do 1 or 2 more songs. Let me turn off this guy. Hold on, give me 1 second. BG for now. I can do 1 or 2 more songs, and I'll just play what you guys want to hear, and then no, I'm gonna play what I want to. I'm playing what I'm playing. My heart is stone. I don't need everyone. Oh, my heart is stone and I feel nothing at all. My lips are sealed and my tongue is tied. And the heart that used to be inside me has petrified. So do your worst to me, I won't feel a thing. Finally I'm proof against the world. So do your worst to me, I won't feel a thing. Someday soon my heart will be a diamond. Oh, and then you can carve it from my chest, for to see how it glitters like the rest. Only then will it shine for you. My lips, they burn from your turpentine, and there's nothing that you're offering that I wish was mine. My heart is stone. I don't need anyone. I have always been and will always be on my own. So do your worst to me, I won't feel a thing. Finally I'm proof against the world. So do your worst to me, I won't feel a thing. Someday soon my heart will be a diamond. Oh, and then you can carve it from my chest, for to see how it glitters like the rest. Only then will it shine for you. No one can save me from myself. Save me. Save me from myself. Save me. My heart is stone. I don't need anyone. My heart is stone. I don't need anyone. Let me turn on this meeting with Eric and let's start. Boom. All right. Open Zoom meetings. What happened? Hello. Hi. Launch meeting. Dig it. Show on the computer. Okay, there we go. All right. So okay. So now we're queued up for Eric to join us whenever he pops in. Yeah, man. Cool. Yeah, me too. It's funny. I'm 100% certain I know Wham's Last Christmas. I just don't know it off off the top of my head. Sweetheart, why? Well, hold on. So why are you doing that? The game is to not hear the song. I couldn't make out what you were singing, but the game is to not hear the song from December 1st through December 24th, and you're already trying to. I mean, or is it? So, B. Coford, if someone sings it, does that count as listening to it, or you have to hear the recording of it? Because if it's a recording, then I don't need to worry about that, because I don't think I've heard that song in 1,000 years. But if it's singing, then Isabella just tried to compromise me playing this game before I even understood how it was played. Sweetheart, are you kidding me? I'm not doing anything. Yes, you are. You're doing something that he's barking at. What are you doing that he's barking at? Are you rolling? Are you rolling the couch?
No, I'm not.
What are you doing?
I was just getting them off it.
Okay, well, you can get her, but leave him alone. Leave him alone, please. Okay, hold on. Let me. This is not working exactly right. There we go. That guy goes there. This guy goes there. And that's a little bit better placed. All right, there we go. All right, awesome. No, it's not. Crap. All right, that's a little bit better placed. Nope. That's a little bit. There we go. Okay, good. And so, yeah. Anyway, yeah. He didn't like the song. All right, well, fuck, man. All right, so we're still waiting on Eric. Oh, there he is. Dun dun dun. All right, now give me 1 second. How do can I change the? Let me see. Wait, no, hold on. Zoom call with. Okay, sorry. There we go. Great. There's Eric.
There's me.
Hey, hell yeah, awesome, man.
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing, dude?
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
Awesome. You know, so I first before we go into anything, I have to like seriously apologize. Hold on, wait, let me. Okay, sorry. I want to change my entire orientation real quick. Oh, great. Sorry for all of you listeners at home. That shit. No, there we go. I want to see if I can't make this a little bit more like I'm centered. Or I could just change my. Anyway, fuck it, whatever. So I should just anyway. So, but here, let's just do this. So yeah, I I wanted to apologize because Ash came out. I knew it was coming out. I just didn't make a big, because I was dealing with all my own personal chaos. I didn't make a big to-do of it, and so there are a ton of people that of my community that missed out on it, and I apologize, because it is a great record, and I definitely, and so that's why so my hope is that, like, people will go back and watch this and be like, oh, this sounds amazing, and check it out, and yeah. And,
well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, you know me, I don't like to make a big deal out of anything. But,
yeah, I know. In fact, that's exactly what I was saying. I was like, yeah, Eric puts out a record, and he's like, he works on it. He says, oh yeah, I'm working on a new thing. Oh, that's great. And then he puts it out. He doesn't call anybody. He doesn't say, hey, the record's out. It just appears. So
it appears, and then it goes away.
Yeah, and it does. Yeah, and then it certainly does. It does vacillate as it's being developed.
I mean, I realize too that I am shooting myself in the foot in 100 different ways by refusing to participate in like anything but Bandcamp, and refusing to post anything more than once, and
Yeah. I mean, but you do that in, all the way up until the whole release is done, right? So you release the singles. So what? So why don't you elucidate, like, what is your release strategy?
Well, it's not so much a strategy. It was like, and that's just for this one. Oh, here comes Misha. It was just for Ash, just to amuse myself. I was like, what would happen if I just released every song as I completed it, just released it for a week, just to sort of reintroduce the idea of artistic scarcity in any form.
Yeah.
And like, as an experiment, I kind of liked it, and as in practice, it worked exactly the same as anything else does, which is to say, it didn't. But
yeah, I mean, it's funny, because I do think that if you were actively engaging with people that dig your stuff, then I think you could have been like, hey, this is going to be out. Like if you want to cobble the record together on your own as it's developing, then you should pay attention because it's going to be up for just 1 week. If you want to buy the single, you can buy the single. If you want to listen to it, you can listen to it. But it's just going to be for like, I think that if you were actively engaged with people, you could definitely do that. If you know, like cause
I think that's probably true. Yeah.
Yeah. But I do think that if you're developing it and you're like, hey, I got a new record out. I mean, you send me, unfortunately, I'm a shitty friend because you send me, you're like, I've got a new song out. And I do often play them here on this stream and I'll talk about them, but I don't make as big a to-do as I really should have. I should have been
that's not what it's for necessarily. There are two people that I always send my songs to, and it's you and Sylvie, if you remember Sylvie from the Kiss and Kill days.
Yeah, of course. Awesome.
So it's and if I remember, I will send them to Rob Z and also to Mike Schnee.
Awesome.
But other than that, very much the release part of the thing is not the fun part of the thing for me at all. So I don't spend much time or energy on it at all. Yeah,
and that's it's funny. It's crazy. I do understand that. And we'll talk about let's go into this. So this is what I was thinking, and I don't know how much time you have for this, and I don't know what but I was thinking that we could kind of talk about the your previous releases first, just kind of like this is what you've done,
sure.
And this is kind of how your production process has evolved over time, and how your composition approach to composition has evolved because you have a very singular way of actually writing these songs. And then we could get into, and then we could maybe play a track and then so depending on, so I was thinking we could there's two different ways we could approach this. We could play the entire album you could play the entire album in its entirety if you're up for that. If you want to just cherry pick some songs and we talk about those, the thing like whatever you're up for, I'm cool with.
Oh sure, okay. So all right, I might imagine I've got at least an hour and a half because Kate's making dinner tonight and she's currently talking to her mom and sister. So
okay,
so cool. we got some time. How about this? How about we play each of the songs in sequence and then chat briefly about them? And
yeah. I think so. Yeah, so that's sort of what I was thinking. But I was also thinking that because they're certainly we don't have a millions of viewers right now. But I'm figuring that in short order, in just a couple months, I should have millions of people clamoring once I've assassinated every major leader. Anyway, but I do think it might be nice to just kind of codify. This is what you've done. So just kind of tell this is your story, and this is what led up to Ash, and now here's Ash, and let's try. So
yeah, that's good. Yeah, we can
cool.
we can give a sort of a general overview and maybe a couple of examples from the previous couple of records,
awesome.
Song cycles.
Yeah.
Oh, Misha.
Someone's like, I want to say something too. Hey, Misha.
Yeah,
it's been a long time. I used to grab Misha's a boy. I used to grab Misha's.
Yeah. We always kind of picture Misha as non-binary.
Yes. No. Yeah. And certainly I can see that. Yeah.
Misha's pronouns are fluff, puff.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's great.
But anyway, so yeah, okay. So tell me. So let's go back. So you obviously your first release was that a COVID thing?
I finished it during COVID.
You started it before COVID.
I started it a little bit before COVID. I think it was maybe 75% done before. Maybe not that much. But yeah, when COVID hit, my wife Kate was in Cambria and I was here. Her dad had just died, so she had wanted to spend a little more time with her family. I had to come back here for work, and then COVID hit. So we were both at that point like, well, we should stay where we are just in case. Which left me by myself with the two cats for a good 5 or 6 months.
Wow.
And I had zero to do. I had pretty much nothing to do at work because when the pandemic hit, nobody was developing video games. So it was just basically like my work didn't know what to do with anybody either. So
Yeah, and they kept you, but they kept you kind of on salary at that during that time.
yeah, like I clocked in, I did, like whatever there was to do, but it was basically there wasn't much.
Yeah, I guess because are you still on 11? So Eric,
Yeah.
so can I tell kind of who you work for and what?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So and Misa wants to be let back in again.
Oh yeah, of course. So Eric does QA for Square Enix, and he is you're the lead QA for on the US side for Final Fantasy 11. Yes.
Yeah, in fact, I'm the only guy who does any kind of QA for that anymore.
Oh, okay. Oh, so yeah, the team because there used to be like four. It was a 4-man team at one point. In time,
Yeah,
right?
I think there were. Yeah, when I was the lead initially, it was I think me and 3 people. But yeah, after a while they just whittled it down to just me. So it's
Yeah.
so it's just me.
And in fact, how is 11 doing? Is it still? I mean, I know some of these games like last forever, never. And I'm 100% certain there certainly are people that are running Ultimate Online, shards somewhere, but.
Yeah, FF11, as far as I know, is entering its 20th year.
Yeah, that's just nuts.
Which for an MMO is just crazy.
Yeah, right.
So it keeps chugging along. Apparently, there's a desire for it still. So
yeah, cool.
Sure.
Well, yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you spend, I'm 100% certain that people that have been playing it all 20 years. Like it has to be like a vacation home. Like it has to be like, it has to be the world has to be a place. Hey Blake, how you doing, man? Good to see you, brother. It has to be a place that if they were to lose it, they'd be like, like I still have dreams about Ultima Online. I still have dreams about Guild Wars. Like some games I spent a lot of time in, and so that must be crazy. All right, so okay, so you had all this time off, and
I had 0 to do for 6 months. So I after a very short while, I was like, well, why don't I just finish this thing that I started? Yeah, probably sometime in 2018 or 19. The whole ethos of it became even more pointed when I was stuck at home because what I had decided to do to just give myself a parameter was to make the 10-song cycle using only things that I had at hand in my little tiny place where I was living.
Yeah.
So it was just I had a viola, I had a guitar, I had a voice, and then I had whatever other like kitchen implements or like a cat box to make a kick drum or any like wine glasses, had plenty of those that I could fill up with water and make a pitch for. So how many different household implements or framing or construction elements did you use in the making of the first album? Oh man, it must be like, if we're talking like individual tracks, it's hundreds, I'm sure.
Oh, really?
Because like for instance, Walk Mantra alone, the sort of like marching step pattern that introduces it and goes through it is, I think that's me wearing at least 5 or 6 pairs of shoes.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay, well, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and so like since the theme of the cycle to begin with was loneliness and isolation, it seemed pretty natural to complete it during that period of time, which ended up happening.
Yeah, that's awesome. And shall we play a track from that just to kind of give people a so his first collection came out in January of 2021. It's called Meadowlark. Is there a song of yours that you think we should play? I mean, I've got it. I love the entire album.
Thanks.
There are some. I have some personal favorites, but like with all of my favorite records, as over the many moons that I've been listening, sometimes some songs come into vogue in my brain, and then others that I was like, I love this song, kind of will be diminished. They'll kind of move down a spot while another one moves up. So.
Pick one. Yeah, anything is good.
Okay, so the very first one you created the very first one you completed was God Damn It, Harriet, I'm Not a Mind Reader, right?
I think the first one that actually finished was what's it called?
Pep Talk.
Pep Talk.
Okay, well, yeah. Well, then let's start. Let's just play. So this is okay. So let me just qualify this. So Eric is a classically trained viola player. So is his wife. They're both like world-class players. They both have masters from USC in viola performance. Eric has played with numerous bands in the LA area. He played with Get Set Go, my band, between 2006 and like 2000, whenever I moved, like 2014 when I moved to Austin. So
would have been like 2013 was where I nearly quit playing altogether. So.
Yeah. So almost a full decade. And in that time, we toured and we played like literally hundreds and hundreds of shows. Because there's a point in time. Yeah. Anyway, so we tried after the Mr. T's scene. I tried getting residencies fired up at the Old Town Pub and at Casey's in downtown and at the Thirsty Crow. I kept trying these things where they were like weekly residencies, of which Eric joined me for a lot of them. So it was just a ton of shows. And then of course, and then we toured. And when we toured, we would do like a radio program in the morning and an in-store show in the afternoon and a nightclub show at night. And then we just rinse and repeat that. So it was just a lot of performances, but
sometimes we didn't even rinse.
Very rarely did we actually. Yeah, it was mostly just repeat, sweat, just repeat. Yeah, it's more sweating, repeating. Yeah,
we saved rinsing for when we got home.
Yeah. But I knew Eric played the guitar. I knew he wrote songs, and he had written. In fact, he wrote a song, I think, for Emma, who he was with back many thousands of years ago. There was something about a hurricane. Am I remember that correctly?
Oh yeah. There was one that I wrote after that breakup. I can't even remember what it was called.
But it was something. It was something about a hurricane. She was being likened to a hurricane, right?
Yeah,
leaving wreckage wherever she went, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I at that point called her a hurricane with a nose ring or something.
Yeah. So he wrote and it was catchy, But never had he done things in earnest, like this, So he's like, I'm thinking about doing this. I'm thinking about doing some music, and I've been writing, I've been recording. I'm stuck at home, so I was like, oh, that's awesome. So this is so let's start with Pep Talk, and then why don't we do one other? Like, do you have a favorite from that record?
I don't think I do. Well, okay, the dark horse of that record is the last track. But I can tell you why after we play it. So
okay.
Or after, so let's do, maybe we should do Pep Talk. I'll talk about that a little bit, and then I'll preface Snow and Smoke, and then we play that one.
Okay, yeah, perfect. All right, so this is the very first. So this is the first song, and this one I think you'll hear like it's so. One of the things I really do love about what Eric's been doing is, for me, coming up in the 90s, with Guided by Voices, and there were actually bands in our scene, like a band called Boxing. Like, I loved this ultra lo-fi, kind of like the music will happen because we like, it's based on sheer just willpower, like it's like you don't have all of the attributes to make a professional sounding record, but fuck it, we're gonna do it anyways. And so you get these like these really organic sounding and like very indie and lo-fi and very much feeling like it's recorded for just you and your buddies, and I've always loved that ethos, and that was early Vermicious K, which is the proto Get Set Go band. So this album very much has this, like, each album gets a little bit more polished, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But here, so this is Pep Talk. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna start that over because the volume is. I'm putting that song out really low volume. Sorry, everybody. All right, now it's up 9 dB, so it should be a little bit better.
How dare you?
Don't feel any better. Don't feel any worse. You don't feel it's a blessing. You don't feel it's a curse. You don't feel like a peasant. You don't feel like a king. You don't feel life is pleasant. You don't feel anything. Welcome to the green room of existence. This is the time of least resistance. There's no windmills that need tilting, no trips that need your guilting, no need for looking forward or back too far. Your only job here is to learn to be exactly where you are. The crystalline resentment of everything you're not, that terrible contentment with all the things you've got, the numbing opposition of these things in your brain provides the right condition for opening a vein. Welcome to the green room of existence. This is the time of least resistance. There's no windmills that need tilting, no trips that need your guilting, no need for looking forward or back too far. Your only job here is to learn to be exactly where you are. It's not so grim, just put aside your disconnection. What if on a whim you went and tried some introspection? Could be that limbo is a stride in the right direction. You may not be in last place, but there's still no glimpse of first. You may not be the best of us, but you're damn sure not the worst. Welcome to the green room of existence. This is the time of least resistance. There's no windmills that need tilting, no trips that need your guilting, no need for looking forward or back too far. Your only job here is to learn to be exactly where you are. Might not ever get there. You might be here for good.
Okay, I'm not certain if you. Oh yeah. Okay, good. You're not. You're right. Awesome.
Time
Oh, wait, sorry. My bad. Yeah. So yeah, man. So for those of you that are listening, that are hearing that song for the very first time, I mean, that is. One of the things I really love, it's funny because I never really considered it because I know what you do and I know the what you bring to music, but I never realized what an awesome juxtaposition it is to have such lo-fi, like have lo-fi percussion and have all these like kind of sounds and the plosives on the mic and have it feel like, and then also have these like really beautiful strings, it creates a little like mental discordance. You're like wait, what? It's just a beautiful album. But you're talking about Snow and Smoke.
Thanks.
So this is the last. So this is track 10.
Yeah.
And tell me about Snow and Smoke.
Okay, so the thing that really made me able to really write stuff in earnest in the first place was after my dad had died. Um, and he died under I've probably talked about this on this very stream before, but he died under really horrific circumstances. So that experience just sort of cemented in my brain the idea of I've already experienced pretty much one of the worst things I could have ever conceived of,
Yeah.
and I'm still here.
Yeah.
It's still, and I'm still alive. It didn't kill me, um, so I don't have to really be afraid of anything anymore. And I think one of the things that I was really afraid of for a very long time, until my until my mid 40s, was expressing myself in like in a sort of vulnerable way. And I still mask it with all sorts of wordplay and jokes and what have you. But in Snow and Smoke, I don't. It's a very intentional, like, what if I stripped all of that, all of the like defense mechanisms away, and made a sort of an art song.
Yeah.
And it's based on, we've talked before about the composer whose book I translated, um, a piece of his for solo viola and orchestra called Trauermusik. And the beginning and end are really probably really blatant homages to that piece, which was one that I learned when I was maybe 14 years old or something.
Oh, really? So I
Yeah,
didn't realize you actually had a long-standing relationship with this composer.
yeah.
And just give us the real quick short story of how, like, just because Eric's did in relationship to this guy. So he was a composition instructor, but did he specialize in violas, or did he just have a particular subset of stuff that was viola centric?
No, he was a violist, and he was one of the
Okay.
first like big violists of the 20th century,
Okay.
and certainly one of the most notable, if not the most notable, composer for the viola as a solo instrument,
Okay.
maybe in history.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so the brief story on that piece is he was supposed to play his concerto, which is called Schwanendreher. He was supposed to play it over the radio, over the BBC. It was a scheduled concert, and then the night before, it was announced that George V had died. So he was like, I can't play this piece. I have to write something to commemorate the king who has just died. I can't not
Yeah.
reference that.
Yeah.
So he wrote this piece he wrote and performed it live in a 24-hour span. And yeah, and I heard it when I was maybe 13 or 14, and it blew my fucking tiny little mind.
Yeah.
Um, and has ever since. It remains one of my very favorite pieces of all time, and I constantly like dip back into analysis of it, and like try and figure out what exactly it is that makes it successful. And so Snow and Smoke is my overlaying of that kind of thing onto this poem that I wrote about, like following the death of my dad. That's very much about impermanence. And it doesn't have any of my normal defenses in it.
Yeah.
And it's also an art song writ large. There's no like poppy catchy stuff to it, really. It's very much written in the style of the guy I was homaging.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, well, yeah. Let's give it a spin. So this is
Okay.
Snow and Smoke. So this is on Eric's first album. Came out in January 10th, 2021. This is the closing track on that album called Snow and Smoke, and then we'll move from this to look out Octosquid. Here comes Crocagator, and then we'll move on to the new release, and we'll
Cool.
talk about that. But here we go. So hey, Elix, how you doing, man? Here you go. So this is Snow and Smoke.
We walk together
In an uneasy stillness across the field, newly duved with snow, blue in the fading dusk. The next day's snow erases our passing. And now the field is a vacant lot, and now a vacant lot plus a barbed wire fence, and now a construction site, and even the inevitable beige tract houses are no more permanent than the pine smoke from their chimneys.
Wow, man. Yeah. See, yeah, just gorgeous. You know, and it's funny. And again, like that's so. I do have to say, for those of you that are listening, or those of you that are watching, all 30,000 of you, um, so if I don't know. For me, I have always been not a huge music snob, but a little bit of like, oh, what bands do you like? Oh yeah, oh that, yeah, okay, you like that band? No, that you fit in this box, and oh, you like this band, and with a certain handful of friends. Where we have similar taste in music, then what we try to do is we try to outclass each other by awesome bands that we know that none of the others do. Then we go, hey, you should check out this guy. So I always hold in my back pocket Eric's stuff because I can always. Cause the thing is, because I can always be like, oh yeah, no, my Eric, the guy that did all of the yellow work on Get Set Go, he's got some amazing stuff. You should check that out. And he's like,
And nobody knows it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And it's fucking mind blowing. And it's crazy. It's crazy because again, this is like. I mean, so what were you? So at this point in time, you were recording on a laptop, right? Or were you recording on your phone?
No, this is the laptop, which I still record on. It's just
Yeah.
that back then I just had GarageBand. Now I've upgraded to Logic Pro.
Yeah,
That's like
yeah.
my one major concession.
Yeah.
One of the things that I decided early on was like, okay, if I'm going to record music and put it out, I am obviously not going to make any money doing that. So neither am I going to spend any money doing that.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's great. Yeah. And that, it's funny. I mean, and it makes. I mean, it working within your limitations makes for unique sounding stuff. The thing is like being like, okay, this is all I've got to work with. How do I make it sound interesting? That it's like that's where you get all of the really cool innovative sounds. And so it's funny. In fact, I was talking with somebody about Prince recently, and they were like, yeah, Prince, if you listen to his record, he never changed his sounds. Like he had his guitar sounds, he had his keyboard sounds, he had all of these different, and then that was all he worked with. And so that way he would go into the studio to work on a song, and he's like, yeah, they didn't have to dial in sounds. It was just, they just had his sounds and they were already set, so he could just make the song and I'm like, that's amazing because Prince has such a singular I hear stuff and I'm like, oh yeah, obviously that's Prince, but a big part of that is because he's like, yeah, I don't want to fucking find the perfect guitar tone. Like, no, this is my guitar tone done, you know? And
Yeah.
so
Well, well, and for me especially, it's like if I'm given the opportunity to have every possible sound at my fingertips, I will never start.
yeah, yeah.
Um, like I'll spend the rest of eternity trying to find, well, what does this keyboard sound like with this weird instrument?
Yeah.
Like what does a shofar sound like with an alp horn? Yeah, and I would never begin anything. So there's got to be parameters thematically and and instrumentally.
Yeah, and okay, and so Metalark was about Metalark, which is the album that we just listened we heard the 2 tracks from that album. That's effectively the theme for that was loneliness and isolation.
Yeah,
And then we're fast forwarding to it's about 5 months later, right? So it wasn't a very
yeah.
long time between both records.
No, because as I said before, I didn't have anything to fucking do.
Yeah.
So.
So the second album is called Lookout Octo Squid. Here Comes Crocogator.
Mhm.
And in parentheses, Pointless Cryptids, Volume 1.
Yeah. So okay,
Explain that.
I wanted to do something that was completely the opposite of the one that because like uh, I enjoyed making Meadowlark a lot, and it was the thing that I had to make at the time, but also it was fucking exhausting. So
Yeah.
I wanted to make something that I didn't have to think quite as hard about. Um, and I just upgraded to Logic Pro because as at the beginning of the pandemic, Logic offered it's like a here try this free for 3 months, and I was like, why wouldn't I do that?
Yeah.
But it came with all these like synth sounds and all this shit. So I was like, okay, so for my next thing, first of all, I am not going to think quite as hard about what any of the songs means, and second of all, I'm going to use it to fuck around with Logic a little bit
Yeah.
and see what I like and see what's possible. And so yeah, so I started writing songs in more of a sort of Robert Pollardy vein, just in the sort of like
Stream of
uh,
consciousness.
yeah, a little bit more, which like I can never get to stream of
Yeah.
consciousness.
Yeah. Yeah.
There
Yeah.
always have to be like something to latch onto, but
Because it's funny.
the attempt is important.
Yeah, no, well, it's funny because that's exactly what I was gonna say. It definitely sounds like that's where you started, like that's where you kind of where you wanted to be, but then the Eric, like, well, this has to make some sense, and there has to be
Yeah.
some through line, and oh, well, they're really, you know, and then you start working in all of your other like verbal gymnastics, and next thing you know, I'm like, oh yeah,
Yeah, well, that was the thing too with the like what eventually became a sort of thematic dichotomy between Crocogator and Octosquid was like I was trying to think. Okay, so there was a trip that me and a bunch of friends made to Arrowhead one time, and our friend Rob and I were talking about like those like fucking Sharknado-ish like sort of like sci-fi um dumb sort of mashup-y horror movies.
yeah,
And I was just trying to think of like the most useless combinations of those like so we were talking about Sharknado and Velocipaster, and I was like, beware of Crocogator, because like what is the most useless? What is a more useless
Yeah,
more useless combination
yeah,
of two
this-
animals
yeah,
than
yeah, the
two
sparrow
almost
yeah.
identical animals? So yeah, so I came up with an idea that Crocogator was which like equally useless, was bravado masking insecurity, and Octosquid also useless. Why is it just an octopus with like 2 less legs? What's the fucking point of that? That was insecurity that manifests itself as hiding and
Oh yeah, sure.
and just like withdrawing into itself. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, I've still got to have a little bit of a theme, even if
Of course.
it's fucking stupid. But yeah, but I liked the stupidity of both of those mythical creatures that would not last a day in the like against Godzilla or
Yeah, well, yeah, but they do at least from the artwork. Oh yeah, so again, so Eric, at least for the first 2 did you? I mean, you certainly did. You did certainly designed the cover for Ash.
Yeah.
Which is the new release, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But with that, the one for Ash, it looks like it's a photo, and the other two are actually like hand drawn designs by Eric. One is Eric at age 44.
Oh, was I just a mere 44 back then?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then do you do the same thing on the Crocagator one?
I think I did. I want to say
top corner.
I want to
no,
say
you
it's
do.
like
by
okay.
Eric Lee, age 45, from the Ridiculous Mind. So yeah, the actual artwork looks like a comic book. It says by Ghost of Summer, a Ghost of Summer Comics, and then from the Ridiculous Mind of Eric Lee, age 45. Look out, Octa Squid! Here comes Crocagator. Yeah, it's just awesome, man. That's really funny.
It was fun.
I haven't looked at I haven't clicked on the actual artwork of that one in a million years. That's great. All right, so let's so what do we and again, this is another one that where I have a lot of favorites. Are there either standouts for you, or are there songs on this album that you feel like you want to showcase because of either the production perspective or the composition perspective, or
Let's see.
I mean, possibly, probably, Positively Kate is a fucking is for me a big.
That is a fun one.
Yeah.
That is a fun. Yeah, that's me doing an XTC song basically. Yeah, let's do that one. That's the one. So okay, so if the theme of Meadowlark was isolation and loneliness, the theme of Octo Squid is insincerity, and possibly probably Positively Kate is the one song that doesn't really fit that mode, because it's my wife asked me to write her a song for Christmas, and I did, and it was
it's a great song. It's a great song, and yeah. Anyway, so here this is possibly, probably, Positively Kate, the one outlier on the album, but it's also a favorite of mine. So here we go. Possibly,
cool.
Probably, Positively Kate.
Maybe she's floating on the breeze. She's sipping on a glass of dry wine. Maybe she's dancing in the trees. She pirouettes across the skyline. Maybe she's a ballerina, unfolding like a concertina. You would know it if you'd seen her. She's absolutely Kate. Maybe she's galloping away, 6 guns are blazing into the sunset. Maybe she's lassoing the day. It's amazing, but she's not done yet. Maybe she's a cast iron cowgirl. Maybe she's the ask me how girl, just as true for then as now, girl. She's unquestionably Kate. There's passion in her planning, her fashion is outstanding. She's brash in how she's scanning my brain. I'm halfway through minding a carafe of wine, finding her laugh is spellbinding, unwinding like yarn from a skein. Maybe she's the queen of cats, prowling through her habitat. There is no denying that. She's definitively Kate. Maybe spreadsheets are her means of bending space-time through her screen. Maybe she's the chaos vaccine. She's categorically Kate. She's absolutely Kate. She's positively Kate. She's no one else but Kate.
Hell yeah! All right, wait 1 second. There we go. So yeah, man. That's it's funny. Are you actually playing those arpeggiated notes, or are those actually arpeggiators doing those like kind of like trilling little
Oh, the top keyboard, the that's actually me playing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 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 That's great. That's awesome. Yeah. I cheat that stuff by finding arpeggiators and then fucking with them.
Oh, I use those a lot on this particular song cycle,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
but that little riff in particular wasn't.
You played it. Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah. That's yeah. Anyway. So yeah. It's crazy because this is 5 months after the release of Metal-Arc, and the sound is substantially. I mean, it's still you. But it definitely does. It definitely is sort of a leap in terms of like what you're doing from a production perspective.
Well, okay, here's the thing. With each one of these song cycles, I have learned towards the end one big production thing. Towards the end of Meadowlark, our friend Mike Viola taught me about panning.
Yeah.
So I started doing that, and then towards the end of Octosquid, I learned about how to use a compressor.
Oh yeah,
So,
awesome.
So yeah, which I used to not want to use those because I wanted to use because a viola has a pretty big dynamic range.
Sure.
And I wanted to exploit that, but what I wasn't really considering at the time was a microphone isn't the same as a human ear.
Yeah.
So you got to nudge it along a little bit.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And a microphone isn't going to pick up. You might have that full spectrum, but the microphone's not going to pick up that spectrum.
Yeah.
It's not going to translate it exactly right. And sometimes you just want to And when you're dealing with two headphones, you've got you've only got so many frequencies to work with, and so so it's like that's
you've got like 2 or 3 intermediaries before you even get to the ear. So exceptions have to be made.
That's exactly right. But yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, let's do one more from Octo. Let's do one more from Octo.
Oh, sure.
And then
let's do.
And then we'll move on to the
Ash.
The main meal. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go grab another drink real fast. I'll be back.
Oh sure, yeah. Do it.
1 second.
I might do the same thing.
Okay. Oh yeah. So everybody, you guys, hang out, play the soundboard. We'll be right back.
Yeah, hang out in your thousands and fuck around. Yeah, you're a kitty cat. Yes, you're my kitty cat.
Hey, Lenina. Oh, did I turn on? I don't think I turned on the soundboard. Curses. Because I didn't want the potential flesh to intrude upon our conversation. But how you doing? I'm sorry. I want to apologize, everybody. I'm sorry that I've been the month of November. I took for the most part off. I played a couple shows and that was it. A couple live streams and that was it. I've been spending most of the month contemplating the very last episode of Hesitation Cuts, because I wanted to, it's funny, as I've been posting my Patreons and as I've been posting these episodes, people have been like, they're like, Mike, we're really concerned for you. Are you all right? Are you contemplating self-harm? What's going on? And because it is, because this has been a pretty stressful. I started working on the podcast in May, and I went from May until now. This is the first week in December, the first couple of days in December, I guess, rather. But and I just finished writing the script for the very last episode just today, and in that process, I realized, and I talk about this. I talk about this in the episode, so I don't want to undercut the power of the episode by talking too much about it. But the show is very different than what I set out to do. The way the storytelling evolved and the way I tell the stories and what I'm revealing and what I'm talking about. Like I had a very different idea of what I was going to do when I started out. And it's been taking a pretty significant emotional toll on me because as each one is released, it kind of feels like an album. It feels like an album release. And I have all the same kind of attendant expectations, but rather than doing that one time a year and just dealing with all of the chaos and the doubt and and all of the, like I did it 10 times over 6 months. And it really was very, very taxing. So I took some time off. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to end on an up note. I wanted to end kind of explaining why I did what I was doing and why the storytelling is happening the way. So yeah, so I think I got it. I think I've been working on it all month long, and I just finished. And most of it was drafts I did in my head as I was kind of, and most of it was literally me taking about 1,000 ideas and being like, okay, I can save that one for a later episode and this one for like. So I finally trilled down, and I think it's pretty fucking awesome. I'm pretty excited about it. But so anyway, so let's get back to Eric. So yeah.
Oh, by all means.
So what do you want to play? What should we do as a little introduction for Octa Squid?
Okay, let's do Bluebell Drive. That's another sort of dark horse.
Bluebell Drive. All right, here we go. Okay, and so talk about this one. So why is this a dark horse?
Okay, so this was based on. So I used to, again, when I was stranded in Eagle Rock without anybody else, I used to take these big, huge, long walks around the neighborhood. I'd walk for like 2-3 hours, and one of the places that I would walk is this place called, I think it was called Blue Hill Drive, but I couldn't call it that in the song because I already had a song that had hill in the title. So it was kind of at the top of a hill, and you could stand at the top and look across all of Eagle Rock, and it was really a really beautiful kind of view until you tilted your head down to this, like, what was in front of you was basically this vacant lot filled with like discarded In-N-Out wrappers and beer bottles and dog shit, and so it made me just think about, like, first of all, think about the dichotomy between that view and then the view if you tilted your head 3 degrees down, and also about the kind of person, i.e. me, who would focus on the view 3 degrees down instead of the really pretty view right in front of his fucking face, would concentrate on the, like, oh no, this fucking sucks. Look at all this ugly horse shit.
Yeah.
So that's that song is a blown out version of me trying to reconcile, like, his significant other telling him he's difficult to deal with, and him being like, no, I'm not. I'm just, and then at the end realizing, oh yeah, I'm probably fucking am.
Okay, awesome. All right, so here we go. This is Bluebell Drive.
She said, I love you, but you make me sad. You see the end of the world in some overcooked scrambled eggs. I said, so you admit the eggs were bad. I don't know what you're talking about. I've gotta go stretch my legs. So the day was off to a really good start. I knew we'd eventually be drifting apart, and it's true, my defense is a state of the art every time we disagree. But I know in my heart that she's all wrong about me. So now I'm walking up Bluebell Drive, and I can't help but ruminate. And I can't shake the mistake I've made a time or 5. If the eggs look done in the pan, they'll be overdone on the plate. So maybe I just shouldn't try anymore. Is it everything else or myself I abhor? It's avoidance again, was avoidance before. That's my conflict guarantee. And I know to my core that she's not right about me. 40 minutes later I have finally arrived at the stunning view from the top of Bluebell Drive. It's a verdant valley vista as far as I can see, until I lower my gaze just slightly to the side of lot 23. A graveyard for old beer cans and hope, where the rejected and lost drink until they can go, and promises break just as they are avowed, and dreams die as soon as they're spoken aloud. A sanctum for dog shit and human neglect. The growth of the weeds goes entirely unchecked. If you find yourself here, your life's already wrecked. It's a dismal place to be. And I start to suspect that she's completely correct about me. She's right about me. She's right about me.
Awesome. Yeah, man, it's so great. It's really funny. One thing that I love is that there's always and I do it all the time as well, which is why I immediately recognize there's always a little bit of Arlo influence in like
a little bit.
Yeah, there's always just some little like guitar thing that I'm like, yeah, this is the Eric interpretation of like the same vibe that you get from these like the dun dun dun. You're like, I'm like, yes, that's enough. Like and I love it. It's so crazy. It's so crazy that they still have such a regular impact on me. In fact, it's funny. I realize that when I play bass on my newest recordings, I'm effectively trying to channel Schmid. You know, like I'm trying to channel. I can't do the ripping Schmid. So I'm just trying to channel like the kind of like the Schmid catchy bass line for what magically doesn't step on anything. You know, like I'm like, how does that go?
Yeah. I like for that song particularly, I think I was actually trying to channel Teresa, like for the bass. Like I was like, this is the thing that Teresa would probably do, right?
That's so great.
Yeah.
It's so awesome, and it's so crazy. Like it breaks my heart, man. That I feel like maybe. One of my close friends that I love with all my heart, was just a really horrible person in a previous life, and that it was I'm joking, but because I really do, I always felt like if I got some attention, if I had a big enough audience where I could be like, hey guys, go check out this band, check them out because they're gonna fucking blow your mind, and go find old, like, you know, the thing is like I'd be doing that with so many fucking bands. Like I'd be reaching out to bands that no longer exist, that I no longer have the recordings for, or I probably do have them in LA, but I just don't have them here, you know, and being like, hey man, I need to put the band back together exactly as you were, because we're gonna go out on tour, you know. And yeah, and that it just kills me, because there was so much good music, but of them, you know, Arlo was just a super fun, like there was just so much talent in that band, you know, and so it's always nice to like hear cool.
Well, and like it's one of those things too that couldn't last. There were too many. There were too many cooks in that fucking kitchen.
Yeah, of course, you know, and unfortunately, it's crazy, man. Like you know, unfortunately, like watching the friendships kind of fracture, you know, like that was you know, but anyway, it's just what happens.
But we're left with two, or if you're lucky like us, three completely fucking great albums that we can reference and use.
In fact, the thing is like I really want to talk to them about Plus One Vorpal Sword. I'm like, I wanted to ask them, can I just put that out as like as Square Tire? Can we just make that available? Because not Plus One Vorpal Sword.
Form Blazing Sword.
Form Blazing Sword. Yeah. Which is Benny actually came up with the title for that, Form Blazing Sword. Yeah.
Good old Benny. I miss that guy.
Yeah, I know. Me too, man. Yeah. In fact, it's so funny. He and I I was just about to get him on this show, and we were just talking about like, and I'm like, oh, it'll be great. And he was like, yeah, I'm really excited. And then his wife had their baby. And then he's like, I will see you in about 18 years. So I was like, oh, no worries, man.
What a selfish asshole.
Yeah.
That fucking guy. I've always known that about him.
Bastard. Okay.
He'll just throw everything over for his own child.
Yeah, I know. What a fucking asshole. Okay, so let's.
Oh, by the way, that last song, Bluebell Drive, contains maybe the best piece of advice that I've ever put in a song, which is, if your eggs look like they're done in the pan, they'll be overdone by the time you put them on the plate.
Yes.
So you have to take them off. You have to gauge, like they don't look quite done. They will be by the time they hit the plate.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. That's awesome. That's really funny. Because when I listened, I was like, every single time I've heard that, like I'm like, oh yeah. In fact, that is why I will leave them a little bit moist before I dunk.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, there you go.
Yeah, you got to know just how much, like, not to push it, and just feel like, just trust in the egg doneness by the time,
That's
because
really
they keep
funny.
cooking. Yeah.
That's really funny. Yeah, it was that song that introduced me to that idea. That's really cool. Okay. So yeah. So let's talk about Ash. So and again, and this is my frustration because man, like I love your music. I love the
Thank you.
I love the way that you it's the Clive James thing. You turn a phrase until it catches the light,
Yeah, that's the idea.
and it is, but the thing is like they're always thoughtful and clever and erudite, and and with just a hint of verbosity, like just enough of there's just the enough of the occasional $10 word to like be like, oh yeah, oh, like for people that like that kind of stuff, it's like, yes, this is amazing, yay, this is like my people kind of thing,
Yeah, it's the snob in me.
yeah, like it's your job to speak my language, not my job to speak yours. Yeah.
Yeah, right. You have to press 1 to speak Eric.
Yeah. So okay. So let's talk about Ash came out. So you worked on, and this one you took a little bit more time on. Is that correct?
It just took a little more time for various reasons. Like I think a lot of it was, well, okay, here's what a lot of it was. It's called Ash because, the theme of this one is mortality and death in various forms, which, I mean, I can't believe anybody hasn't thought to tackle before, but yeah, it's just a topic I stumbled on and decided to write a thing about it.
That's innovative.
Yeah, just the thought that maybe that we and the things and people we love are going to go away at some point. But
yeah, scary thought. I mean, it's not conceivable, but it is a scary.
No,
like it's a scary thought exercise.
Yeah. So I started writing some songs, not really knowing what they were going to be about, whatever. And then my beloved cat Scooter died. And the reason this one took so much longer to come out was because for 6 months I couldn't do anything. I loved that cat.
Yeah,
he was so great. He was my best friend, especially like during that 6 months where it was just me and the cats. Like, so I was devastated when he died.
And I can't say, so I knew Scooter pretty well. And when I would hang out, often Eric and Kate and I would get together for dinner. What? Oh, dinner's ready?
Kate is calling me. 1 second.
Oh yeah, sure, of course. Anyway, so we would hang out and Scooter was the most friendly, most affable, most chill. Like the thing is like, and I, of course, I never torture animals, but I grabbed his face like a baseball and I would shake it, and he was just so sanguine about everything. He was like, oh yeah, well, this is what's happening.
He liked that.
Yeah. This is like,
somebody was paying attention to him.
Yeah,
he loved it.
Yeah. And he was just fun, and like he was never. It was just an absolute. So I could see living, like living with an animal that is that present to you, like just in your life, like that's got to be like I am living in absolute terror of the day that Sue passes. The thing is that like, because I've had him since he was 2 months old. Like literally, I was on tour for 3 months. And it fucking train wrecked him and his behavior. But that's the only time that we've been apart since he was 2 months old. He's now 7, and he'll be 7 in February, so he's coming up on 7. And we've had 5 months of separation from the moment he existed on this planet till now. And man,
a favorite comedian of mine calls pets heartbreak time bombs, which is.
Yeah.
It's about as apt a phrase as you can get, I think.
Yeah. But okay, so continue. I'm sorry for.
Oh yeah, no, like yeah, that's a Scooter digression, but he was the one who really sort of cathartized. Oh yeah, this is what what this was going to be about, because
Yeah.
this is all I can think of right now is mortality and the fact that, I mean, the first one was my dad dying. The second one kind of was Kate's dad's dying,
Yeah.
And the third one was absolutely Scooter dying. It was like just I couldn't. Um, I almost couldn't handle it. Like it was, I spent maybe a month just like, I would just open up like fucking, I don't know, Instagram on my phone and just scroll, because my brain needed to be occupied with something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if I didn't do that, then it would focus on the
Sure.
fact that, like that my best friend had died.
Sure. No,
So it was just,
that is literally the world I live in. That is my perpetual state of being now. If I am not distracted, if I am left in with my own thoughts, I will literally just so I understand that, like I haven't dealt with any immediate death right now, but anyway,
yeah.
but let's get
Well,
to
yeah.
Ash. Let's get to Ash.
Oh, sure. So yeah, so the first song of that cycle is the song that I wrote right after Scooter died, because the last day of his little kitty cat life, he wasn't having any fun being alive anymore. It was very clear. So we called somebody to come to the house and like do some humane euthanasia. And so that day we scheduled that person for 6 o'clock, and Scooter and I went outside in the backyard at maybe 10 in the morning, and I just stayed out there with him the entire time. I'm just like, Scooter loves being out here, so I'm just gonna, this is his last day. I'm gonna give him a whole day out here.
Awesome.
And so we were just out there the whole day. I was just like looking at IMDb on my phone, just I mean, all the stuff that the lyrics say, but it was very much the fact that it was this countdown to the final moment of somebody I loved very much, and I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
And at 10 in the morning, it seemed like we got all day. This isn't even going to happen. And then time passes like it does, and then the person came, and it happened, and that's how life goes, sadly.
Yeah. Alas, man. Well, all right. Let's give it a spin. So this is the first track on Eric's newest record called Ash, Exit Interview, which again, the story he just told us is the impetus for it. But here we go. This is Exit Interview.
We're sitting outside in the dirt. I'm scrolling through movie trivia, stemming the tide of the herd, with quotations from classic cinema. Soon I know you'll disappear. A photograph just can't capture it. At least we have this moment here. And maybe the next one. There's no way to slow down or hasten decay. One thing we know is we're wasting away at the rate of 1 second per second. And I wish you didn't have to go when you're beckoned. I don't want you to go, but I do need you to know you did so well. Even though this part is slow hell, beloved by me and by all who knew. How much better can one be expected to do? So top marks from me in your exit interview. It's just a relaxing retreat under the tree here. When its fruit's ready to eat, you will not be here. There's no way to slow down or hasten decay. One thing we know is we're wasting away at the rate of 1 second per second. And I wish you didn't have to go when you're beckoned. I don't want you to go, but I do need you to know you did so well. Even though this part is slow hell, beloved by me and by all who knew you. How much better can one be expected to do? So top marks in your exit interview. Wish I could reverse this path where you're bound. Keep you traversing this side of the ground. Life will be worse without you around. You did so well, even though this part is slow hell. Beloved by me and by all who knew you. How much better can one be expected to do? So top marks from me in your exit interview.
Yeah, and wow, man, just such a powerful song.
Thank you.
And again, it's crazy because again, so looking at it just in 2 years' time, because Metal Art came out in January of 2021, and Ash came out in November of 2022. So almost 2 full years. You went from super lo-fi, a la Guided by Voices, to now this, which from my perspective, like, holds up with any. I mean, it's definitely an indie record. But the thing is, like, there's nothing from a production perspective that feels amateurish at all. Like it's beautiful, man. And
oh, thanks.
And just a fucking heartbreaking tune. But yeah.
Well, a heartbreaking memory as well.
Yeah, of course.
Honestly, like, there were a couple of lines in that song that I could barely fucking get through singing.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Because it was really raw and fresh at that point. It was because there was the line about, well, because we were sitting under an avocado tree, and it, like, I couldn't help but think that, like, oh yeah, there's little avocados. They're when they're ripe, you're not going to be here anymore.
Yeah.
And it was
that kind of shit drives. Yeah, Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So
it was hard.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because that sort of is my perpetual existence, like my perpetual way. Like I'm for whatever reason, like, literally for the moment, I remember, like, as a 12-year-old, like, looking in the mirror and doing this and be like, remember what this feels like, because your face at some point in time will never be this smooth. I've been hyper aware of the fact that time is just, like, fucking racing. I'm like, what the hell?
I remember very specifically, like, as a kid, doing things that I liked, like having a Dairy Queen ice cream or something, and being like, what? I wonder how many times I get to do this before it's the last time I do.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, that's actually a really my favorite moment in Paul Bull's Sheltering Sky, where he's where he says he's like how many, like, we all of us have a finite number of everything. So how many full moons do we have until our last full moon? How many, you know, like, and the thing is like, yeah, and that's exactly right. But nothing compared, because pets are like they're so. You know, they're like children on easy mode. You know, like they're like, oh, I can't deal with the kids, so I'll you know, like I want to do the easy mode version of a child. You know, and
you got a compressed time frame to work with, which is both good and bad.
Yeah. You know, but yes, but the thing is like, anyway. But yeah, but okay, but I know you don't have a ton of time.
Oh, I'm fine now because Kate's finished cooking dinner. I had some of it during the last song, and so
awesome.
yeah.
Awesome,
Kate's
great.
watching stuff in the other room, so
okay,
yeah,
great.
we're good.
Awesome.
As long as we got.
Awesome, great. Well, then do you want to move on? Should we just do it's 10 songs? So should we just go through all 10?
Yeah, let's do.
Yeah, awesome, cool. So tell me about Easy Doesn't. By the way, like every now and again, I run across a song title that, or I run across a lyrical perspective or a lyric or something. Like in fact, this album is chock full of that kind of stuff for me. But
thanks.
but you know, but where I'm like, fuck, man, like it was right there in front of me. It was so obvious, and I didn't take advantage of it, you know. And Easy Doesn't is one of those where I'm like, motherfucker, what a great title, you know. So
thank you.
Yeah,
that's one of those where, well, I mean, you know, in the like the theme of the album being death, like this is one of the maybe 2 songs on this album that's about the death of ambition, which is how it's like, if you're going to undertake anything meaningful to you, it's so much easier to not. And your brain works really hard to try and convince yourself that you just might as well not do that thing. Or, you know, like they've even like the studies have shown, which I hate that phrase, by the way, but it's true that that like
what studies by whom were they peer reviewed?
Yeah, I mean, these I think were, so I think we're all right. But apparently, like, thinking of doing a thing releases the same chemicals in your brain as actually doing the thing. So it's so much easier to just be like, yeah, I'm gonna write a song cycle, and then your brain goes, yeah, we did it. And then you're like, I'm gonna go to sleep and watch some TV.
God, I don't think that my brain has that function. I think that I think I'm going to do it, and if I do it 15 or 20 times, I go, yay! No, I didn't do it right.
Yeah, that's the way your brain works. My brain works like, we could fuck this up 15,000 different ways, or we could just not try it.
Yeah. No, that is true. All right. So Easy Doesn't is so you're saying it's about the death of ambition.
Yeah, it's about how easy it is to let yourself off the hook and just not do the thing that you want to do.
Awesome. Here, let's give it a spin.
Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, but you should know good's the enemy of great. And all 3 of them hate just fine, so somewhere down the line you'll end up with something you hate. It's over before it starts, blown into component parts, and we can take it easy, and we can take it easy. When fear of losing means you can't win, you may as well not begin. And we can take it easy, and we can take it easy. If you cannot stand my worst, which is the side that you'll see first, you don't deserve me at my best. I'm ashamed of being shameful, for which I'm ever blameful, but it's a shame to be shameless. It's over before it starts, blown into component parts, and we can take it easy, and we can take it easy. When fear of losing means you can't win, you may as well not begin. And we can take it easy, it's easy. When the pressure's crushing. Do your best not to forget. If you've done nothing, then you've done nothing to regret. It's over before it starts, blown into component parts. And we can take it easy, and we can take it easy. When fear of losing means you can't win, you may as well not begin. And we can take it easy, and we can take it easy, and we can take it easy, and we can take it easy.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so many buttons to press. Yeah,
Yeah.
that just awesome. And again, it's crazy. So in fact, so do you have a bass guitar? Are you playing a bass, or are you doing that
Nope.
with a keyboard? So you're doing it with the keyboard?
Well, I'm doing it. I think this way I did it two different ways. I took a guitar line and dropped it an octave,
Oh yeah, sure.
and then I think I overlaid that with a bass sample,
Yeah.
just to to see if I could give a little bit more naturalness to the whole thing.
It actually does work. In fact, that was why I was confused, because it definitely sounded like there was definitely a string in there somewhere. Like there was some picking action, but it did sound bass like. But I could definitely tell it was doubled. But that's awesome. Very smart. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that was my I've got so many fucking workarounds for my own lack of materials and technique.
Yeah, no, but that's again, like that's one of that's I think the hallmark of really cool and interesting and innovative music is when you're like, okay, I don't have these things. How do I get, but I want this sound. How do I get it? And you figure out some a workaround that ends up becoming a singular sound, sounding new thing.
Yeah, you can write it off as stylistic, or
or just I don't have a bass, so
or I don't have that.
Yeah.
I need something, but I don't have that thing.
But that's totally great. That makes perfect sense. I've never even considered, like, oh yeah, I can just use a guitar. I can just play play a bass line on the E string, and then I can just drop it down an octave, and there you go. There's my bass. That's awesome. That's great.
And it mostly works.
Yeah.
That's a song that I actually like. The chorus, it's one of those weird things that you hope for, where the chorus pretty much sprung into my brain fully formed after a dream.
Oh, really? Wow.
And then I sort of reverse engineered what that was supposed to mean. But yeah,
that's crazy. I've only had one song that I was inspired by a dream, and I don't remember how it goes. Unfortunately, I don't have the lyrics for it, but I do have a recording of it in Los Angeles on my old tower. I remember but I had this crazy dream. Yeah, but it's so weird because I don't really have very many musical dreams, but every now and again I do, and they always, like, usually they're songs I know or songs I've written, but anyway, it's crazy. But yeah, so
I mean, I've only had two. It's that one, like most of the chorus of that one, and then the lyrics for Snow and Smoke were pretty much. I woke up and it was pretty much almost fully formed, and I just wrote them down.
Yeah, wow, crazy.
Yeah, it was insane. So yeah, like as with anything, like I'll take it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna question that if I get a little.
Yeah. If you get a little help from, obviously it was a demonic possession, but that's okay. That's hey.
That's okay. I'll let Pazuzu into my life.
All right. So what about Grey Ghosts? Tell us about Grey Ghosts.
Okay, Grey Ghosts. This is okay. So I grew up in Montana, and in Montana, there's a lot of towns that are just like depressed.
Okay.
Depressed or dying or dead. Like Anaconda used to be a booming copper mining town, and then the copper mine dried up, and now it's just kind of like a sad relic.
I mean,
And there
are
are
people still there, or is it?
yeah,
Oh yeah.
there are people there, but it's like it used to be like one of the biggest centers of industry of the state, and now it's just kind of like a little town where nothing happens.
Yeah.
And that happens all across the state. So I started thinking of all those places that I'd seen not only in Montana, but like on tour. We would see those places where
Yeah,
you'd just,
yeah.
like you'd stop in at McDonald's or something to eat something, and you'd
Yeah,
be like, how do these people stay here?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. There'd be a subway, like it'd be the main freeway. There'd
Yeah.
be, you'd be driving. There'd be one subway because apparently every town has a subway, and
Yeah.
and then it would just be like there'd be like a subway and like a gas station, and then like 6 houses on the main road, and then just
Mhm.
like, and then that was it. Okay, that's a town.
Yeah.
Huh?
And then you'd like see
Yeah.
people working at those places and be like, oh, you got to go someplace else.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like Montana is a state that is kind of given to that. There's like there's a sort of fatalistic stubbornness that kind of runs through the people of that state, I think. And so yeah, it's kind of a pastiche of that kind of idea with my desire to write a Tori Amos song. Um,
Oh wow.
Plus a couple of like childhood sort of memories, including this sort of metallic green Mercury Montego that I think it was my parents had when I was a kid, but it might have been my uncle.
Oh.
Um, uh, which was Montana's a weird state because you could take a car like that and you could drive it at 150 miles an hour across the completely straight highways in that town and nobody would bat an eyelid.
Yeah.
And then, like eventually that you would see that car by the side of the road with weeds growing through the engine block, and so yeah, it's another song about decay, but a kind of a specific geographical kind of decay.
Huh. All right, awesome. So this is Grey Ghost. Here we go.
Cracks, spiderweb, the windshield of an abandoned Mercury Montego. Used to drive so fast your skin peeled. Down I-94 up past Weebo. Out here all is memory and dust. Out here all is penury and rust. The sky seems much more massive all the way out here. If you just stand still and passive, you can feel yourself disappear. Paint peels from a faded sign in a quaint, outdated font. Now it's only weeds that died at somebody in Rosie's restaurant. Out here all is memory and dust. Out here all is penury and rust. The mountains seem to crumble and the road looks like a scar. Weeds too tired to tumble sit laconic where they are. Everyone forgets me one day. But I don't resent them when they do. More than a few times along the way, I've forgotten who I was too. Furrows in crepe paper skin, cloudy eyes that once saw true, can't escape it sinking in. I'm a graying phantom too. Out here all is memory and dust. Out here all is penury and rust. The sky seems much more massive all the way out here. If you just stand still and passive, you can feel yourself disappear.
That's a moody one.
Yeah, in fact, I was going to ask you. So I was going to ask about sequencing. So you were the one that actually introduced me to the idea of kind of like controlling the sort of the emotional. Well, you know, you start off with like a. You start off with a kind of a song that's like a good kind of catchy and like here you go. But then the next song you kind of elevate the energy, get it exciting, you know, and then you drop it back down. You kind of keep things. Do you still kind of follow that methodology? How do you like?
Kinda, yeah. I mean, I approach that kind of thing the same way that I do everything else now, which is basically I figure out where I want to go and then I work backwards from there. Like, and in this instance, like in the sequencing of the whole song cycle, I knew where I wanted to go and I knew where I wanted to start, and I just and so yeah, the rest of it was just sort of like filling in blanks.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's you know, it's funny. Like, yeah, which is funny. That's one of the things that I think in this day and age, so many people ignore, or so many people don't realize there is an art form in just laying out an album, and because it's not just the key and it's not just the tempo and it's not just the vibe, it's the themes and what's being said and you know and introducing, like, it's really funny. I remember I was, somebody excoriated me for putting Lock Up Your Daughters right after Looking East, you know, and I think that's the sequence. I think it's Looking East.
I think you're right. That sounds right.
And I was like, no, man, because I'm like, no, that's a perfect, because for me, I was like, this is the misery I'm in all the while my friends are off, like, having wild, crazy, raucous adventures with girls, and I'm like, I can't, and I'm paralyzed. So I'm like, it fits the narrative. How could you? Because, but for him, he was like, it's so weird to like have like this heartbreaking song and this, like, you know.
No, there's something almost Shakespearean about that. Like you bring somebody way down, and then you cut to the gravediggers scene, and then it's like,
right.
You know, it's or you know, like who is it? The like Dog's Body in Much Ado About Nothing. Like you have a really, really heavy thing, and then you cut to the two fucking idiots who don't know what they're doing, and it gives you a little bit of. It's a palate cleanse, and it also puts things in perspective, and I do think that's exactly it. In fact, that is for me with Little Bird Lost, like the, you know, that the da ba 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 ba, like that, the idea behind that was, for me, was like,
so here's this horrible thing happening to this one person, and all the while, if you just pan the camera over, there's life happening, and there's joy. Like people are like, "Yay, our lives are like," and so it's that's the thing that makes life a such a fuckball of chaos, but also a wonderful is it's all happening simultaneously. So it's at your worst moments, there are people having their best moments, and at your best moments, like and it's just this weird melange of just everything, And,
you can't ignore that aspect to it. Like it can't always be. You can't stay in the heaviness forever. Like it's like it's too much to take in.
Yeah,
there has to be something breaking it up, or you'll fucking hang yourself.
And so Duke of Ears is where does it fall?
Okay.
Yeah.
This is we're in a dour twosome right now because okay. Do you know about the Iroquois Theater fire in Chicago? I think it was 1913 or so.
The Iroquois Theater? No.
Yeah.
No. So I'm assuming at least one person died in a fire.
Oh, it was lots of people. Okay, so it was this really, really horrendous tragedy where it was basically like they were putting on a children's play. So it was mothers and children in the middle of the day, and it was in this theater that the builders touted this theater can't burn, which was technically true. The theater couldn't because it was made of asbestos. But it being a theater, there was lots of oil and rags and costumes and candles. So one of the curtains caught fire inside the theater. And the whole thing went up inside. And the crazy thing was everybody rushed the exits, but the exits opened in. So they couldn't pull the doors open because there was a crush of people in back of them. And this is actually the reason that you have push bars on doors in public places now.
Wow.
So hundreds and hundreds of people died in this horrific fire. And in the aftermath of this fire, where some people were just like throwing themselves out windows to try and get away from it, the police arrested a guy who had a bag full of human ears that he had cut off corpses to steal earrings. So
where was he finding these corpses? Like,
they were piled up on the street outside the theater.
Oh, I see. Yes. Oh, I see. They took all the corpses out.
Mm-hmm.
Like they pulled everybody from this horrible fire, and some guy's like, "Oh, this is great. I'm gonna make a bunch of money by stealing."
Yeah. I can take a look at all these fucking earrings. I can just take them. And it's easier to cut the ears off than to try and negotiate the actual clasps.
Well, good for him. That's very enterprising.
I hope he did real well off that. So first of all, I had the title of the song first because there's a Soft Boys song called "Queen of Eyes."
Oh yeah, and then Duke of Ears. Yeah, that's great.
And so I just wrote down in my notebook Duke of Ears, and then I heard a podcast about this Iroquois Theater fire. I was like, oh, that's that guy. And then trying to like get into the mindset of somebody who could do something like that.
Yeah.
Just like wander around blithely, like cutting body parts off of corpses for his own benefit. So that was, so that's the story of that song, which is a real uplifter.
So we're gonna give this one a spin. Here we go. This is called Duke of Ears. Did you send me this one?
I think I did. If not, you can take it from Bandcamp.
I mean, yeah. So okay, so just to mention, all of these albums are available on Bandcamp. You can buy them right now. You can preview them. I think like 20 times before Bandcamp says, "Hey, would you like to buy this album and support this artist?" And then you can say no, and then it breaks their heart, and it breaks Eric's heart, and it breaks my heart. But you can still be callous until at some point in time, Bandcamp's like, "Dude, you've listened to this way too many times. Either you spend money or you're dead to us."
I think I said it at 3 times. I think you could set it no lower than 3. Like if I could have said it at 0, I would have. But like 3 was the minimum.
Yeah. But so okay. So here we go. This is Grey Ghost.
Duke of Ears.
Oh no! I just played Grey Ghost again. Yeah, this is Duke of Ears. Sorry, Duke of Ears.
This ship will never sink. This building cannot burn. What do you ever think? When will you ever learn? In this one terrors and tears your civility spurns. Your fancies and fears are beneath my concern, beneath the concern of the Duke of Years. The gates are locked ahead, but I can't help but smile. In the mountain of the dead, something shining in the pile. Though your heart might break for the food of the fire, they only serve so I can take the things I desire. You weep for all those lying blistered and charred. Such worries and woes are beneath my regard, beneath the regard of the Duke of Years. The woman walking on the tightrope sprinkles her petals on the crowd. There's no hope worse than slight hope. The screams grow long and loud. While you're all sorting out the geometry of blame, so much decency to flout. As I dig through the remains in this wonderful world of corruption and rot, I'm just glad I get whatever I've got. All the terrors and tears your civility spurns. Your fancies and fears are beneath my concern, beneath the concern of the Duke of Years.
Wait, still there. All right, there we go. Awesome. Thank God you've got long fade out.
Yeah, no.
But so that, it's funny, that one actually has it very much, and you did send that to me. It has, and in fact, I think we were, because it definitely has a very like musical theater kind of vibe to it, like a Stephen Sondheim kind of like kind of thing. So talk about that, because that's definitely. That's not the only song that has that kind of flavor in this.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think my like one of my main touchstones as far as composition goes, it's probably one, Paul Hindemith, whose composition I studied.
Yeah.
Number two is probably Stephen Sondheim.
Yeah.
So there's a big musical theater thing that always runs through it. I love the just sort of like the completely unabandoned like wordplay and virtuosity and like fast talking that can happen in a Broadway musical. Like if you get there's a song in Company called Not Getting Married that's just as fast as a person can possibly talk for about 3 minutes.
Just the nonstop the whole time. Wow.
Yeah, or like you've seen The Music Man. There's like
they're like just nonstop like
yeah. It's like
solo, yeah.
It's a bride who's breaking down right before her wedding. So it's like, listen, everybody, if you want to,
Cool. Wow.
Or if like in The Music Man, it's like pick a little, talk a little, pick a little, talk a little. It's like that kind of like just like verbal dexterity I've always just fucking loved.
Yeah.
And that dude does it better than anybody. So I always kind of aspire to that, especially lyrically, because he's unimpeachable as far as like
Yeah. No.
just virtuosity of words goes.
Yeah. Yeah. And talk about like turning a phrase till it catches the light kind of thing. Like he always,
Yeah.
yeah. He's he will offer things. You go, oh, I should have thought of that. And then I also offer things where you're like, I would have never even like that's where did that even come from? You know, that's the yeah. And thank you, Elias. Thank you for that.
There's a song that I actually did a cover of. Like I've
Thank
got
you,
I've done various covers for Kate. I don't know if I'll ever put this out or not, but I have a playlist called Cowgirl Mixtape, and one of those songs is this song from Company, a Sondheim musical, and it's a guy talking about marriage, and the line is "You're always sorry, you're always grateful," which is like
Yeah.
it's like okay. Thanks, asshole. That's the best possible way to put that.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, give me 1 second. I'm gonna go replenish my drink real fast.
I'm gonna do the same.
Yeah. And we'll be right back. You guys sit tight.
Should we play the next and then while we're doing that and
well, no, because the next one is one of my favorites. So I want to.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So.
All right, nice. Okay.
1 second.
We will be back.
Yeah. 1 second. Mop it, and my puppy Sue. I love you. Oh, yes, I really do. I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry that it's taking so long. I'm doing my streaming thing. Oh, my puppy dog. Yes, I do. Okay. All right, we're back. Oh yeah. No. I turned off. Yes. Oh, that's right. I forgot to turn off the sound. I forgot to turn on the soundboard. God damn it. Oh well. Well, I'm back. So that we can chat. But yeah, man. So so Eric's fucking brilliant. It drives me nuts that like. Anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But Eric's back. So let's talk about the next song. Look Who's a Fucking Tough Guy Now, which is one of my favorite from the album. But
sorry, I'm muted. I was muted. I'm good. Okay, so Look Who's a Fucking Tough Guy Now.
Yeah.
So that if we follow this metaphor of death, this song is a metaphor for the death of the essential self that a lot of young men fall for.
Yeah.
Where like a lot of particularly sensitive young men, which I count myself as, you start out as a sensitive artistic type, and then the world happens, and you have to just harden and harden and harden, and then like in your 20s, you become a fucking asshole. Because that seems like the only recourse you have, and some people stay there, and some, like, in fact maybe the majority of people subjected to that just stay there when that's not who they really are at all. So they stay in this like aggressive, walls up, fists up, like, yeah, fucking come at me, bro, type of spot where that's not who they were to begin with. And that strikes me as like one of the saddest things, like, because I fell victim to that certainly in my 20s. I wish I hadn't. Yeah, and that it strikes me particularly as like the state of, for instance, comment sections on the internet now is everybody just being like, to whatever extent they're capable, just fuck you, just to avoid any kind of vulnerability.
And there is, like, it's funny, people are pretty awesome at finding, at needling people until they find a weakness and then just fucking going at that weakness nonstop, and so finding something that gets somebody incensed and then they just fucking drill into it and they both just get each other like, and and it's funny because the thing is I used to engage in a lot of that in the early days of the internet, and I would on IC, I would have these flaming, like it would start on Ultima Online, and then it would migrate to ICQ, and it would just be this like, yeah, and it would just be these like fucking, flame fests. Yeah, and the thing is and eventually, it takes you a long time. It took me a long time to realize that like there's no profit. There's no, even if you win, and even if you can shut somebody down and make them feel diminished, or make them run away crying, whatever whatever you think might be victory in that circumstance, you end up feeling worse.
There's no benefit to anybody.
Yeah.
It's the fucking like lasers versus shields in Dune, where whoever shoots the laser, if they hit a thing with the shield, everybody dies. It's a zero sum game, and it's a no win scenario, and so many people just fall victim to that and just stay in that spot.
It is there. It's funny. I think to me it feels like because I think that our roles as humans has been kind of there isn't a like, oh, this is the coming of age, you're a man now, and this is like, and we all accept you as a man, or you're a woman now, we accept you. Like our roles are undefined, and because because there's no there is no sense of permanence. Like you don't go, oh, I'm a mail delivery person, and I'm going to be that for my entire life. Well, maybe mailman actually might be the last one, where you start as a mailman as a young man, and you can go all the way to your retirement age as a mailman. But everything else, it's like you can do something for a long time, and then the next thing you know, you're like, this is not doing it for me anymore. I have to change, and so your identity suddenly, and it just feels like there's just this sense of like, So I definitely understand why people want to go to the wall, because it seems like, I'm going to define who I am right now in this conversation with a total stranger. And I'm like,
well, yeah, because after a certain point in your adulthood, you grow up with this sort of gradated system of, okay, we've got K through 12, we've got high school, we've got college, we have we have the idea of marriage and having a child, and like getting a job, getting a promotion. But outside those parameters, there aren't really any easy boxes to put yourself into to simulate any kind of progress.
Yeah. Or to feel that sense of accomplishment and belonging, and I'm part of my community, and I'm here. Like,
right.
And so in a way that is easily recognized and acknowledged by everybody else. The thing is like it used to be like, oh, you're like, I'm an alderman, or I'm part of the Elks Lodge, or there was enough. You had things that you could be part of that you'd be like, yeah, this is my place in the world around me, and I can say to people that I don't know, oh, I do this, and people go, oh, you're this kind of person. That's great. That totally does not exist anymore. It's much better. It's much better to say I'm a drag queen that like to say something completely off the wall, and people go, oh, well, that makes sense. I know what that is. But like to be like, oh yeah, I work, I make deliveries for Amazon during the day, and I drive for Uber at night. Then you're like, oh, what, you've been doing that for a year, and you'll be doing it for another 6 months, and then you're gonna be something else. Like that's.
There's no sense of identity you can get from that even, nor should you really.
Right.
It's like, it's junk bonds and junk jobs and junk, so it's the same thing that everybody has to do now, and nobody told you that, but like you have to figure this shit out yourself at some point. If you follow it through to this, even to the societally dictated end, the only place that takes you is having a child, and then after that, like, I don't know, I got to get the Peterman account. What is there? Like you have to at some point just make it up yourself, or feel miserable forever.
And again, anyway, but we can't spend over long on this because it's already 11 o'clock on my end. So that's a fascinating. It's a really compelling perspective to write a song on, but and the song I think is awesome. So this is
thanks.
This is look who's a fucking tough guy now.
were so fragile little once. Your skin was so thin. Your bones were so brittle once, much to your chagrin. Then you started to discover the robust, abundant stew of ways people hurt each other, and by extension, you. You're feeling emotions you can't understand. Gonna show the whole world the back of your hand. And look who's a fucking tough guy now. You toughen your thin skin somehow. No one can get near you. They'll scorn and they'll fear you, 'cause you're a fucking tough guy now. Things got to be so hard, but you were so gentle. So you put up your guard, though it was just ornamental. You're feeling emotions you can't understand. Gonna show them all just the way that you planned. And look who's a fucking tough guy now. You stiffened up your spine somehow. No one can get to you, approach or see through you, 'cause you're a fucking tough guy now. Cruelty is better to give than to get, at least in the moment I have to admit. But this is not who you're meant to be, and fuck you is not an identity. Far too late you'll perceive none of this is the real you. After all the people leave who you might have appealed to. You're feeling emotions you can't understand, but emotions are feelings and feelings are banned. Look who's a fucking tough guy now. You fortified your walls and how. No one can get near you. They'll scorn and they'll fear you, 'cause you're a fucking tough guy now. Tough guy now. Tough guy now.
Hell yeah, yeah. So yeah, and one thing I love is like, so the electric guitars add the toughness. You know, it feels like, but then the like the tough guy it's beautiful. Like it's like beautiful. And so it's such an awesome like juxtaposition. You know, it's just I love it, man.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that was pretty much the idea. Like the harmonies, like just clashing and being like, yeah, big choral stuff, and then discordant like viola.
It's so cool. Yeah, because you know, and that does, and so, well, first of all, let me say, Storm, thank you. I see Storm said, I love your songs, especially I Hate Everyone, Nothing Turns Me On, Suicide. I don't know why you're not famous, and I totally agree with you. I don't know why. I mean, to a certain subset, but yeah, man. But it doesn't. So just to point out, this is Eric Summer. This is Eric Lee. His actual name is Eric Lee, but he's known as Eric Summer, aka Eric Summer from Get Set Go. He was a viola player, and we're going through his. He was a viola player for Get Set Go. So he did all the amazing strings. He on Nothing Turns Me On and I Hate Everyone and Suicide. Like he played on all those. And we're going through his newest record called Ash. And we're just going through each song and just kind of talking about it and talking about like the themes and what inspired each song and some of the production aspects. But man, yeah. So it's just it's a really, that's one of the things I really love about this record. Like each album kind of has its own completely different like audible world space, you know,
yeah, it has its own aesthetic.
yeah, but
And I wanted to keep it that way so I could look back on it and be like, oh, look how far I've come.
yeah, well, yeah, no, yeah, it's crazy because you can definitely there definitely is a marked distinction between each album. You know, it's funny because I right now have been trying to go like I've been realizing that there was a bunch of stuff that we did in Vermicious K days that was awesome that I don't do any I've just lost some of that, like some of the like the feeling of spontaneity, the feeling like, oh my god, is this live? It's definitely all multi-tracked, but like it just felt live, and we were just, you know. And so I've been trying to find ways to recapture some of that because so anyway, capturing sound is awesome. Being able to like, I liken it to like the song is this living entity, and sometimes you can pin it, you can tack it to the board, and you're like, aha, I've captured this insect, but then the song flies away and it just leaves a chrysalis of what it was, and that's the recording, you know. And like the song exists in the ether. You can kind of temporarily pin it down, but it's not the actual song. What's real?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's not Isabella. I thought that was Isabella. That's Misha in the background.
Oh, it probably is. Yeah.
So anyway, so just super cool.
Yeah.
And
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's one of those things where I really wanted to try and capture like the adolescent sort of like the way your brain is rebelling against you at all times. Like that's what the violas do, kind of, is like it all seems like crazy and discordant and like what's even going on, and then you zero in on this idea of like, well, I'm gonna just be a fucking tough guy then.
Yeah. Fuck. I love the lyric. Fuck you is not an identity. You know, that's so good.
Thank you. So like, for too many people, it really is. But
yeah, I know, right? The thing is like, really, that's okay, dude.
So that's all there is to you, all right?
And it's exhausting. Like, really, like you're just gonna you're fighting everybody and always okay.
Yeah, do you think you're gonna win?
Yeah,
really.
Yeah. All right, but all right. So let's move on to Ash.
Yeah, Ash. Okay.
So this is the title track.
Yeah. So this was inspired obliquely by this piece by Thomas Ades called Arcadiana. There's a movement in it. It's a pretty discordant, pretty advanced piece tonally, but there's one sort of like keystone movement that's just like really beautiful and harmonically just satisfying. And it's based on the Nimrod variation of Elgar's Enigma variations, which is
yes, of course.
You'd recognize it.
That old chestnut.
Yes.
Yeah.
You would totally recognize it if you heard it.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's in the same key, and I put this one in the same key. But like listening to that made me just think, oh, what if I just did something like that? I can write this kind of voice leading really easily, makes, like 4-part string writing, make it sound really pretty. And then to overlay onto it a like kind of a folk songy, like, here's what I want to be done with my body when I am dead, type of idea. So yeah, that was basically it. It's like, it's supposed to be really simple and really folky, but also like the lyrics are a little bit twisted because it's, like lacquer my eyes with epoxy or whatever, and then put them on your table so they can look at you after I'm done. Like, so yeah, so that's the idea behind this one, is I want it to be really simple, except a little bit like a little fucked up.
A little what's that guy's name? What's the Edward Gorey? Edward Gorey.
Yeah,
And
a little,
yeah. I think,
a little gory / Charles Adams,
yeah.
like morbid.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So this is Ash. Here we go.
Cool.
Set them aside as my proxy, so they can be where you are. Drown my lungs in the fountain. Burn all the rest where I fall. Scatter my ash in the mountains, so I can be part of it all. Sink my incisors in quicksand. Cast all my fingers in stone. Prop up my bones with a kickstand, so they won't feel so alone. Donate my liver to science. My kidneys can go in the trash. I will not need their compliance when I am nothing, nothing but ash.
It's funny. I completely. I knew. You told me about the themes of the album, but like over the time that you was like, I totally thought that this song. I completely misinterpreted what this song was actually about. So I thought like it felt to me like it was like a jilted love kind of thing, and you're like, you know, like, and I was like you know, like go ahead and just do these things to me, you know, like, and so yeah, so but it's so funny, like now that you've kind of contextualized it for me, yeah, it's amazing, and it's really funny because I've in regards to like I don't see why when I die, like I really desperately want people to just take my body and just dump me in a forest. Like be like, oh, here you go, animals. Like come get him while he's fresh. You know, because the thing is like, because I've taken so much from this earth and from all of the like, I don't see why I can't just like give myself back when I'm dead. Like, all right, I'm done using me. You guys, you know, have at, you know.
Sure.
So that
Yeah,
so-
like it's just it's a very twisted, controlling living will, is what that is.
yeah. That's great. You think you're going to be okay? Yeah. In fact, so I do. In fact, I did want to say like I do think that I might have to. I might have to go because I have
No,
to
that's
take the
fine.
dogs out, and do you want? Would you like to? Would you be interested in perhaps picking up?
Yeah, we
Kind
can
of
do
where
a
we
different.
left off,
We can do another one.
yeah, or do you want, or because I think I have to go now because I have to walk the
Yeah,
dogs.
yeah.
Isabel, but do you think would you be interested in picking up like at a future conversation maybe over the next couple weeks? And
Yeah,
we can kind of
sure.
pick up where we're at here, and we can kind of keep the story going on. And I will. What I'll do is I will promote this episode to everybody in my Discord so that the people that couldn't make it they can catch up and then hopefully they can join us for the next
Yeah.
the next issue. So
Yeah, it's good.
the next issue is yeah. 'Cause
The next issue of Get Set Go.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, so everybody, so this is Eric Lee, the mastermind behind. We did a little bit of a conversation on his first album Metalark, and then we did a couple songs and talked a little bit about his album Look Out Octo Squid. Here comes Crocagator. And then we've been listening to his newest release called Ash. I promise you, just you've been hearing this stuff because he can't set it at you have to buy it to hear it, which is but to our advantage, you can actually go and just give them a spin. I promise you, you'll love them, and then kick him down some cash. Buy these albums because I promise you, whenever you're hanging out with music snobs talking about cool little indie bands that they love that are cooler than everybody else, you're like, no, dude, this is the fucking I own all of you asses. You can no matter what metric they're qualifying it by, like whether it's compositionally or lyrically or musically or small bands that no one knows, like whatever metric they're trying to qualify to make it a cool band, Eric trounces them. So I promise.
There's nobody smaller than me.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, so his music, this album Ash, is only available via Bandcamp, and right now, and I bought the album because he actually sent me these tracks. So I didn't think to buy the record because I'm a fucking numbskull. So I bought the record today. So Bobcat bought the album when it came out. I bought the album today, and that's it. Those are the only two people. It's a fucking amazing record. So I highly recommend buy it for yourself, buy it for your friends, check it out, hand it off to people because it's an amazing record and it is unique. I mean, that's the thing that I think I can offer with all of my friends that I bring on this. We've been doing this a long time. And so we've kind of found our own voices and we're really good at doing the things that sound like us, and that's something a lot of bands don't really develop, because they burn out. Like they put out an album, maybe two, it sounds kind of like there are these touchstones and then that's it, and then they give up, so there's not a lot of people that do it and keep doing it and keep making it, and the friends that I bring on this show do, and Eric is chief amongst them. So check it out. And yeah, and of course, Shamrock, that's awesome, man. And thank you, brother. So I love you guys. And I will be back. I'm taking the weekend off. I'm going to be assembling the season finale of Hesitation Cuts tomorrow. And then I'll be making that available to my Patreon people, and it'll probably come out next week. So, but I will be, I'm going to start streaming again on Monday, and I'll be kind of doing it full tilt. Eric, let me know, what works for you in terms of,
Sure.
if you want to do it next Friday, if you want to do it midweek, or, or if we do it 2 weeks from Friday, like whatever you.
Yeah, maybe 2 weeks from Friday, because next Friday I'm going to be in Redlands. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Just let me know. Let's if we can lock it down a little bit early, then I can let. I mean, although we did lock this one down a week ago, and I failed at my. But anyway, I've been blah blah blah. Yeah.
I will forever hold it against you.
Yeah, no, yes, yeah, and as well you should. We are after the next show, I am dead to you. We'll never speak again. I get it. All right, brother. Well, thank you, man. And and thanks everybody. Thanks for hanging out. And I hope you had a good time. I had an awesome time. I had a great conversation. So I
had a pretty good time.
Hey, cool. Well, awesome. Well, then fuck these guys. No. All right, I love you guys. Thank you, Lenina, and thank you, Cupid Doll and Shamrock and Retro Roadshow and B. Coford and Storm and everybody else that were hanging out and showed up during the course of the show. And Eric, where can they find you anywhere else other than like Bandcamp? Is there other stuff you're doing? Is there anything else you want to mention or promote?
Nope, just Bandcamp. That's
all right, just Bandcamp.
That's
Awesome.
the only place people can find me.
All right, adios. All right, so I'm gonna. This is the credits. We're gonna roll out. Hold on, give me a second. I'm gonna. Here, I've just run the credits real quick, Eric. Give me 1 second.
Run them.
I just lost some Patreon people, so these credits are no longer the main ones.
Do you want me to? Should I hunt them down?
Yeah, I'll call you right back.
Okay.
I will call you right back. Just a type of.
Okay, cool.